Hey, what's happening, Bat fans? I'm K-Wing, and I am angry! I am wicked annoyed with Batman Bad Blood. Now, keep in mind, this review will have spoilers, because I'm trying to prevent you from watching another bad DC animated current Batman film. Okay, so if you didn't know this, Batman Bad Blood promised us an awesome Nightwing movie with character development and a combination of Battle for the Cowl, Reborn arcs, and the death of Robin. This film did a hatchet job on all three of those comic arcs, which I'm still amazed how they could screw it up so much. So who's at fault for this film's demise? Kathy Kane. Now the plot is supposed to be Batman dies and Grayson has to come back and be the guy to bring the family back together again. Even though he left Batman's shadow, we were supposed to see a struggle from him coming to terms with his answer to his own way of crime fighting. Do we get that? No, we don't. Now, say what you will about the Morrison Batman run, but at least past DC Comics understood how to portray Bat Grayson and his Nightwing character. Bad Blood doesn't. Now, let me first say, this is by no means a terrible Batman movie. It is the typical New 52 fluff we've come to expect from the current DC animation. Still, this film has many problems and lots of pacing issues thanks to Batwoman. Now, one of the biggest letdowns right away is what fans were promised when DC and DC All Access were hyping this up the past couple years. Nightwing, this time around, they promised was going to be the leading role and save the day. All that teasing since Son of Batman and all the little cameos and everything they were building up to something would have been worth the wait. And what was DC's answer? That Nightwing and Robin cannot hold a single film by themselves. Gee, I guess they forgot about this short.
I'm calling in backup to finish the Scarecrow case.
I'd rather scare you to death, but this will have to do.
I think they missed a strategy meeting because the audience wanted a whole movie like what you just saw. But guess what? I guess we'll keep waiting. Now, don't get me started on Gotham as a character either. You could have easily shown what the city was like without Batman and built an entire movie around just that concept. Instead, we get a very rushed storyline of what Gotham looks like without Batman. Enter Black Mask, who causes a little bit of trouble and then is easily taken down by Grayson and Robin, which was actually kind of funny and true to their dynamic duo quirkiness. The misadventures of Grumpy Robin and a happy Batman, which, again, would have made an awesome standalone film. But I digress. What do patient fans receive in this film? We get 2 scenes of Batman and Morrison Robin. Then, of course, Robin ends up getting kidnapped halfway through the movie, and Dick has to plead with Batwoman to save the young Robin. I can just see how the meeting for this film went when they were doing the storyboards. Dan Dido walks in and says, "The premise is good, but we need to add more Batwoman. What do you think, Lee?" "Well, this is supposed to be a Nightwing story, Dan." Dan twists his evil stash and says, "Oh no! I think we need much less of him, bellowing evil laughter. I'm Dan Dido." Anyway, why all this hate for Batwoman, you ask? Is it because she's gay? No, it's because she's a weak character in this film. She reminds me of a character I hate so much, Rodimus Prime. Actually, she is Rodimus in this movie. She is the one responsible for Batman's apparent death. If she hadn't interfered with the fight between him and Heretic, Batman would not have lost. It's just like what Hot Rod did during the battle between Megatron and Optimus Prime.
I thought you were made of sterner stuff. No, you don't, Megatron! Out of the way, Hot Rod! forgive me.
Kane also, later in the film, shows no remorse for her actions when speaking with B&R, nor does she apologize for getting Batman killed. She's just kind of like, well, I was there, and yeah, and they're just like, well, Batman is kind of a jerk. It's like, really? Honestly, if you removed most of her scenes from this movie, the pacing would be a lot better. It's like that famous bootleg of Star Wars Episode 1, where that guy was so mad at Jar Jar Binks that he removed him from the entire film, and actually, it's a watchable movie. Not to toot my own horn, but I actually did that myself. I just wish I could stream it for all of you, but my account would totally get banned. Ah, copyright. But honestly, again, the movie should be called The Misadventures of Batwoman, or Bat Soap Opera, because Bat Blood is all about Kathy Kane, her dating life, PMS, and family problems, when it was supposed to be about the Batman getting killed and what Gotham had to deal with all this tension that death creates. I don't want to watch a soap opera switching back and forth. It's irrelevant to Batman. What I wanted to see most of all is how does Gordon and Gotham feel about all this? And the Batman villains, most importantly. The Batman is dead. How are they going to come to grips with that? My question to all of you who watched the film, did DC deliver on that promise? The answer is no. Now look, The Flash is really good and subtle about introducing characters that are different into movies and shows. And the scene with Kathy and her dad is a simple and perfect way of showing that Kathy likes ladies and had a horrible event that turned her into Batwoman. What DC should have done is build up more on that. Does the film do that? Nope. It's like when the Green Ranger showed up in Power Rangers. Or rather, when it became the Tommy Show. Bad Blood became all about Miss Kane, and she is supposed to be a sub-character, not a main character, that ends up taking away more screen time from characters like Robin and Nightwing. But let's move past Kane and talk about the only good new character in this film, who is actually handled properly and with respect. Batwing. DC actually chose to go the Luke Fox route, other than that other guy for this movie, and I actually think that was the right decision. If you don't know who Luke Fox is, he's the son of Lucius Fox, and he's a former military hero in his own right. He's actually come to Gotham to spend some time with his dad because Lucius has been rather distant, for many years. That's mainly because, he runs Wayne Enterprises as the CEO, so Bruce can do his nightly activities. So Fox didn't have much of a family life because he had a mission to keep Bruce's secret and his kid away from this stuff. Though with Bruce being gone now, Mr. Fox has his hands full at the moment and can't spend too much time with Luke. I just like saying that name for some reason, which creates a little bit of tension for the Fox family. Although Luke actually already knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. It's not really hard to figure out when your dad's been building all this crazy tech for years. It's pretty easy to put that together. Later, after a run-in with the Heretic, Luke speaks with Grayson about fighting on the main lines to help Batman and Robin, because he's a soldier, and that's how he can best help out the Grayson team. And Dick is like, it's not my call, it's his call. When in reality, Grayson is Batman now, and he can call the shots. But instead, he's just dressing up as Batman and not acting like Batman. This is something that DC actually addressed right away in the comics during the Morrison Pre-52 run. Grayson told Alfred, if I'm going to be Batman, then I need to be my own version of Batman. I'm not filling Bruce's shoes and pretending to be him when I'm out there risking my life every night. To become Batman, he created his own Batcave, a new Batsuit, new gadgets, new abilities, a different approach to crime fighting. He also would help the police since he used to be a cop himself. So he was more caring, more understanding, but also ruthless if he need be to scare the crap out of criminals. Everything about that Batman was different, but it was still a good Batman to read and a good Batman to represent what Batman was. This Grayson Batman in the movie is so confused about everything around him. He feels unsure of his own actions, and he causes the wrong kind of tension for the audience watching this movie because people who don't understand who Nightwing is, they think he's a weak character, that has a very bad role in these movies, and he's not necessary, which is the opposite of what this movie was promised to fans. In the comics, Dick and Damian as Batman and Robin were a very fun read, and people have been waiting and yearning for a movie like that. But this intern Batman is just painful to watch every step of the way. In this movie, Dick is using the Batsuit that Bruce wore when he was Robin and acting more like Nightwing in cosplay than Batman. It just gives an uneasiness to the entire film and makes the Grayson scenes feel out of place when he's supposed to be the star of the show. This is just wrong. Also, they bring back Bruce way too soon in the movie. I'm not going to say when, it's soon. And then when he's back, he's so upset at Dick for even donning a Batsuit. It's like neither one of them ever planned or fathomed the day when Bruce will die and Gotham will need a new Batman. Doesn't Bruce have a failsafe in place like he does with the Justice League? Apparently not. And even Alfred knows one day Batman will die and Grayson will be the hero that Gotham needs until Damian can take over. But no, Bruce acts more like a jerk to Grayson than ever before because Dick told Batwoman who he was. You could also argue at this point in time in the movie it's because of Batman's mind control, but this Batman in the New 52 films is a jerk anyway. But back to Batwing, because he's more interesting to talk about. Luke returns to the vault in Wayne Enterprises where all Batman stuff is stored and finds this experimental Batman Beyond-like tech suit and becomes Batwing. He then arrives just in time to save everyone, showing his true mettle as a hero and making a great addition to Grayson's team. Sadly, his scenes are very short and few compared to Kane's. Actually, most of the really good stuff that Luke does, you don't even see. And to be honest, I would have loved to see more of him in this film. Maybe in future installments. I mean, the Bat Family's introduced now. Maybe we'll get spin-offs for Batwoman and Batwing, you know, but maybe we won't. I'm really not going to lie to you, though. I am, as you can tell, very annoyed that Nightwing plays second fiddle to a brand new character in these films, Batwoman, who gets more character development in 30 minutes than Dick got in all 3 past Batman films. And he has no flashback either. DC teases a monologue and a heart-to-heart between Batwoman and Grayson about what it was like to work with Batman, and the audience is on the edge of their seat as the camera zooms in, and then nothing. See, a talented writer could have run with that. The audience has been waiting to see what caused the tension between this Nightwing and Batman. What was the original dynamic duo like in the streets of Gotham? That is the perfect story for a replacement Batman that people wanted to see. No, demanded to see. They could have made a whole 15-minute segment flashback about what happened, or they could have been classy, like Under the Red Hood, that had flashbacks about, you know, when Jason was Robin. How is that hard? Instead, you know what we get? The camera zooms in, and Grayson says, "It was lonely." That's it! 3 films for this! Are you kidding me? All that other filler in the movie wouldn't have mattered whatsoever, but because DC couldn't deliver what Nightwing fans wanted, they just twisted the knife even more. And once again, we get the short end of the stick and a rushed superhero team-up film to introduce new characters. Remember Batman vs. Robin, which was supposed to be a Damian and Dick story pre-52 that was turned into a rushed Court of Owls film without any ties to the Grayson family at all, when the Court of Owls is about Nightwing? Heck, recently Dick joined the Court of Owls. Why? Because DC's running out of ideas, but he is a part of the court. The Nightwing. Why did he choose a wing? Because he's secretly an owl. That's what DC's saying. But guess what? That film was a letdown too because it had nothing to do with Grayson. It had to do with Robin joining up with Talon. You know? But this film, this one is one of the worst in the series, and I didn't even deem that possible. Parts of this film even feel like another Damian story. He becomes another sub-character when he's had 2 previous films to be a sub-character. Why? You know? Also, just to mess around with your head a little bit, you could say that the whole aspect of this movie is Damian's fault because of his existence and introduction in this universe. So play around with that in your head for a while. So speaking of that, let's talk about the antagonist. The Heretic, the guy responsible for killing Damian a couple years ago in Batman Incorporated. How did the film treat this super powerful villain? Well, for one, he isn't the main bad guy. Like the comics, he's a Talia-like side guy. Although the movie could have used him a lot better, they don't. And I mean, this guy is a grown-up Damian Wayne, like hardcore killer. Easily beats Batman and Robin. All the time. A real powerhouse character. But Batman Bad Blood reduces him to a blast mask role in Arkham Origins. You know, minus being the Joker. Although he could have been. Also, the Bat family, which I love, by the way, kills half of Batman foes and doesn't even blink. The only one that shows a little bit of responsibility to his actions is little Damian, who tries to save a guy who's falling into blades and remembers his father's words as he throws the batarang. Justice, not vengeance. Oops. But guess what? He's too late. Still, it's okay. The message was Robin was trying to do the right thing. Even Dick later in the movie does nothing when an opponent he's facing is crushed to death by rocks right in front of him. At least he didn't quip about it. Alfred, you did though. One could argue the reason the Bat family has to kill everyone in this film is because Talia told everyone Bruce Wayne is Batman. Or the Heretic did, or Mad Hatter did, or whatever. So you could see it as tying up loose ends. But this isn't a mob film. This is a Batman film. They don't go around whacking people because they know Bruce Wayne is Batman. Yes, it ties up loose ends, but that's not what they do. This is not a Keaton film, okay? What happened to the code? You know, we don't kill.
We don't kill.
I was taught you destroy your enemy.
That makes you like them.
It makes me better than them. Deathstroke killed my grandfather. He has to pay.
You have to keep your center, Damian. You can't fight crime by becoming a criminal.
What is the message in all 3 of these films? That's right, we don't kill. Even Dick Grayson replaces Batwoman's bullets with rubber ones and reminds him, hey, I know you're new to this, but we don't kill. And she's like, well, I guess I'm okay using rubber bullets. Maybe it'll be better this way. Yet people still die. I guess they forget that later in the film because even Alfred, I love him, and it was so cool to see him in action, kills 2 people and then jokes about it. When did this become a Marvel film?
Fatality.
Mellow out.
Seriously, all the movies and his Justice League appearances, he is adamant about not killing. He doesn't even kill Talon. Talon kills himself in the previous film. This is just mind blown. And lastly, we have Talia al Ghul. What a 180 that character pulled, ladies and gentlemen. Remember when she did everything possible to protect a little Damian from Deathstroke after the death of Ra's? It was so sweet. Why is she now this serial killer with this heart as cold as Mr. Freeze? Did Ra's take over a body like in Batman Beyond? Nope. DC Animation just used the same switcheroo like in the New 52. Villainizing Talia and making her never love Bruce Wayne, and she's just a product of her father, evil to the core, uncaring, cruel, and cold. Even to the point where she actually cloned her son dozens of times, killed off all the other clones that didn't make it back because they were not strong enough to succeed. You know what they turned Talia into? A lion throwing their young off cliffs to see who's strong enough to climb back up. And then she'll decide whether or not to shoot them. That's the Talia we get. Gone is the really cool kick-butt supermom that would move heaven and earth for the people she loved. She's replaced with this Talia, which is nothing like the one we've met in the previous films. She is actually reduced to a plot device to move father and son closer. Talk about refrigerator syndrome. While pushing Grayson out of the picture again. Which I will give it to the writer. They are devious and clever for being like, we're going to kill Nightwing off in a future movie. You watch! You watch! Okay? Dido is going to have his day. It's going to happen. Okay? Maybe it'll even happen in Titans versus Justice League. But never know. The only thing that is clear in this movie, the only theme that I have found watching it 3 times is a child's relationship with their father and the father's relationship with said child. That is the theme of this film. Kathy and her dad, Dick and Bruce, Damian and Bruce, and the Foxes. So you can say that this entire film screams out family. So my question is to DC, why did you call it Batman Bad Blood? There's no bad blood in this film other than the Al Ghuls, and they are a subplot within a plot within a plot within a plot. The theme is family. Okay? It's not about Batman. It's not about the new dynamic duo that you've been teasing us for years, Damian and Dick Grayson. It's a rush team-up film with so much filler that at its heart is about family, but no real plot. So what is the whole point of this movie, DC, other than all the scattered comic plots that you tried to sew together? Honestly, I don't think I can watch another one of your movies, especially if you do a Battle for the Cowl. How are you going to do it? You haven't introduced Jason Todd, unless that Red Hood movie is part of this universe somewhere. I mean, you could argue that Nightwing and Batman were both in it, so maybe you could try to twist the character back in, but the lack of Tim still bothers a lot of people. Yours truly. Okay? Oh, and listen, I know a lot of you who are getting ready to type, you're like, oh, they're not going to kill off Batman in an animated movie. It will happen. They will have a Gordon Batman, and based on the ending with Batgirl that you saw in this film, you know she's coming, and she's going to mess with the love triangle between Nightwing, Starfire, just to annoy fanboys across the world so DC will make money. They want us to rant. They want us to be upset. You know, they want us to show our fanboyism and buy their product. What we need to do is if they release a movie like that, we don't buy it. Okay? But my question to all of you is, with half of the Bat Rogues now dead and the League of Shadows, how are they going to make another Batman animated film in this universe? There's not much left to work with. Which makes me ponder the direction that DC is going, which they are going to move the focus to Gordon and Batgirl. I'm calling it right now. The next DC animated Batman film will be called Batgirl, and will be about either Nightwing and Batgirl's past, but I don't think DC is going to do that. I don't think we're going to get to see anything about Grayson's past. He's just Nightwing, and he's going to die, like in a Forever Evil story. What we're going to get instead is Gordon and Batgirl and how it affects their family, and then it's going to somehow leap into Batgordon. But I digress. I'm done. If you like the movie, good, great for you. You know, all I've proven is it's a jumbled mess. You can take from it what you want. It's just like the previous animated Bat films. All action, no point, no substance. In the comments section below, tell me what you thought about the film. I'm curious to read your reactions. Just be respectful to those that disagree with you. No blocking people on Twitter. Let's be grown-ups. If you want more reviews like this, let me know. I'm a bit rusty. I hope you guys enjoyed my look at Batman Bad Blood. If I could show you my edited version, it's a lot better. But that's up to DC because they would block my channel. Anyway, thank you again for watching, sharing this with your friends, whatever. Open the floodgates of discussion, have fun, be civil with one another, and until we meet again, God bless and happy viewing. Later, watchers.